Electronisounds Audio, the YouTube channel for you.
Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Dean from Electronisounds. Stick around. Today, it's all about creativity. I wanted to explore this new Fractal Bits algorithmic drum app inside of the iPad, and I decided to sample the sounds out of it through this little rig here into the Elektron Digitakt. I've created 8 beat examples using only the sounds from the Fractal Bits app, including for all the melodic elements. Stick around, guys. Let me show you what I put together. Be sure and subscribe if you're into this kind of content, guys. On this channel, I talk about everything from making music with iPads to making music with hardware. I talk about new gear. I talk about old gear. I talk about making live jams. I talk about making tracks. We talk about sound design, all that good stuff. Be sure and subscribe, guys. Here's how I've got the audio set up on this, guys, to get audio out of the iPad and into the Digitakt. I'm using the Elektron analog heat as the audio interface for the iPad. So we're going audio out of the iPad directly into the analog heat. I'm taking an output from the analog heat and I'm running it into this Pioneer RMX 1000 remix station. I'm basically using this so that I can add a little bit more low, mid, and high, or take away a little bit of low, mid, and high frequencies as needed as I'm sculpting the sounds individually. And then I'm just recording an output from the RMX 1000 into the Elektron Digitakt. And what I did, guys, is I just spent a day picking out sounds that I liked from the app, doing a little bit of EQ on those sounds, using like the Pro Q3 inside of the iPad here to do a little bit of extra EQ work on some of those sounds before they go into the Digitakt, because there's not a fully fledged, EQ inside of the Digitakt. Adding a little bit of heat through some of the various, different presets here on the analog heat, all sorts of options here. Some of these give a little bit different sounds or a little bit different, vibe, a little bit more distortion, a little bit less distortion, maybe no distortion at all, just a little saturation or enhancement. So I can really color the sounds that are coming out of the app further using this. I also used like the built-in filter and EQ on the analog heat to kind of shape some of those sounds as well. And then again, through the shaping tones here, if I needed that, and directly into the Digitakt, guys. Let's check this out and see what sort of grooves I was able to build with this setup. Before we get started with the examples, I'd like to show you guys how I was able to make some melodic sounds out of these drum machine sounds that I sampled into the Digitakt. Here we've got just a kick drum sound, and the Elektron Digitakt will allow me to create some loop points, some start and stop points, and actually loop the sound forwards or loop the sound backwards based on the loop points that I set inside of here. So if we take a look here, if we set the play mode from forward, which is its default mode, to forward looping, and then you can see that I've got 2 lines here. I've set up a start point for a loop and an end point for a loop. So when I hit a note, we'll start from the beginning of the sample and it will play until it hits this line here, at which point it will start looping, starting with that line on the left. And let me see if I can show you what that looks like. You see how this line is sort of hanging out here and looping back and forth in this section and creating just a static tone? You can pretty much create a melodic tone from any sample if you set the play mode to loop and then you go in and fiddle with those loop points and whatnot. If you don't have it set to loop, it's just a tiny little sound, right? But you turn that loop on, and then if you go in and you can adjust sort of where these points are going to be, and see how the pitch is changing here. You'll need to have some sort of a reference as to like maybe be holding a C note down on an external keyboard, or even use something like an external tuner coming out of your headphone jack might be able to get you to reference what that pitch is, so that you can make sure that when you hit a C, it's actually a C. But that's what I'm doing, guys, and that's how I'm creating melodic sounds from the drum sounds that I sampled out of the Fractal Bits app. do I do this stuff anyway, guys? In this case, today it was all about trying to inspire some creativity, get a new workflow, and play with the gear in new and exciting ways. I think it's important to challenge yourself. There's a million ways that I could have approached checking out this new app. This was just a way that I chose to explore these drum sounds and see what I could create with them. Out of these 8 grooves, I might pick my favorite 1 or 2, make them into a complete track or something like that. It's just a sort of a way to inspire different levels of creativity and to push yourself and to challenge yourself to try new and creative things, to try to get new and different sounds. This is sort of the stuff that will make your sound your sound. Thanks for watching, guys.
Be happy, to have a good time was a real thing. It wasn't a throwaway thing.